Welcome to Newton Falls Means Business. I'm your host, Brian Kropp, and on today's episode, I'm going to be interviewing Al Schultes and John Nagy of Venture Plastics Incorporated right here in Newton Falls. Let's take a walk inside and introduce ourselves. Hey Al, how you doing?
Brian, good. Good to see you.
Pleasure to see you. I'm really looking forward to this interview and going through the facility and seeing what you guys do here at Venture Plastics.
Sure. Welcome to Venture. We're excited to have you, and we'll get out there in the heat and see what we do here.
I'm looking forward to it. Let's
All
go.
right, let's go. Here's the pair of safety glasses for your protection.
Good thinking.
All right.
I like that. Let's go.
We'll head out. We're going to be in here talking about a few of our parts. It's our quality lab. We'll come back in and talk about our quality services, but thought we'd take a chance here to talk about our business. We're a custom injection molder, so we make a lot of different parts, and all the parts that we manufacture are for several different customers.
Give me an example of some of the stuff that you guys make here.
Sure. Something that all the viewers will probably understand is a Smucker's jelly caddy.
Absolutely.
You go to the restaurant and you have breakfast and you want a jelly for your toast. Every one of these Smucker's caddies, 3 different sizes, we manufacture right here in Ohio.
That's really cool. I had no idea. Company. I've definitely had Smucker's before, so I definitely understand that.
Sure.
What else you got?
You'll see a new one of the Smucker's coming out, be sitting on tables here in the next few months or next year, that we help them develop a different design.
Cool.
So another thing we help with customers do. Here we've got a crossbow stock for one of the Ohio companies.
Can I check that
crossbow.
out?
Absolutely.
Thank you, sir.
This is the butt plate, one of the components. So we make the stock and some components that go with that stock.
Very cool. Bow hunters would like to hear that, I'm sure.
Absolutely. We kind of have an unwritten rule, if you will, that once we get to, say, a 30% size in any one market or any one customer, we've got to go out and grow business of other market segments, because we want to protect our company and our workers to make sure that we're not getting too heavy in one market or one customer.
Eggs in one basket.
Yeah.
Very smart.
Exactly. Eggs in one basket's not good things for us.
I'm sure the employees and everybody really appreciates that, understanding that.
Absolutely.
It's very smart.
Absolutely.
What else we got here?
This right here is an automotive part we manufacture. This goes on the front fascia of the Ford Raptor, the F-150.
Oh, okay.
So we manufacture this part. It goes out to our customer, and then they paint it, and then it goes to Ford's manufacturing facility. It goes right on the assembly line, gets manufactured
Snapped
there.
right in, huh?
Yep.
That's
Snaps
cool.
right
So that goes
in
right in the grill assembly.
Yep.
Very cool.
And then
What's this thing here?
This here is a pretty unique product. It holds non-unique oils for your motor vehicles.
Okay.
You go into a service station and you run a high mileage oil that they don't typically have in bulk there. They have a special system that these plug in. The service guy goes over, fills this up, and then this is what they transport over to your vehicle and disperse the oil into your engine.
So clean and efficient.
Clean and efficient, brand new product for us.
Oh, great.
We purchased the blow molded component from a Ohio vendor, and then we mold all these components and we do the assembly. So not only are we an injection molder of products, we also are value add. We have our employees that do leak testing, assembly, pad printing, such as you've seen on this Smucker's caddy.
Right.
We do the decorating here as well.
Oh, that's great.
We've got injection molding machines, 21 molding machines here on our floor, ranging from 55 ton up to 1,440 ton.
Wow.
And each one of them makes a different size product. This machine right here is actually a 720 US ton machine made by Nisi. And right now we are molding a 0 to 5 degree solar mounting system, okay?
Tell me a little bit more about what that is.
Sure. Well, you've got companies that buy solar panels, puts them on their roof to help generate energy from the sun, from the solar power. This product goes on the roof and holds those solar panels at the right angle to collect the sun's energy, and then turn it into AC power to run your lights, your vending machines in your lunchrooms, or the entire facility, whatever you so choose. But this particular product is for a customer called Equilibrium Solar. They're an Athens, Ohio company.
Now they're local. Fairly
They are
local. State of Ohio.
Yep, state of Ohio. This is the EcoFoot 2 Plus.
Can we take a look at one of these?
Absolutely. Hey, Sharika, can I see one of those? Thank you.
Thank you.
So what this is a ballasted system. Okay? So you have this going up on the rooftop. It lays flat on the roof. This particular product has EPDM strips on it that part of our value add to our customers. We apply this.
Anti-skid?
Anti-skid, helps better attachment to the roof.
Excellent.
Or the EPDM roof tops.
Wonderful.
So this goes on that roof. You have one portion of the solar panel, one end of it attaches here with a specific clamp that's also fabricated and manufactured here in Ohio.
Awesome.
Then you have another one of these feet that's set here, and the other end of that panel intersects the other side of that panel over here.
Gotcha.
Then you have concrete blocks or ballasted systems that goes on this.
Weighted down.
So the beauty of this product is it goes on your rooftop, and we as an injection molder and a building owner, we don't want to have to put screws through our roof, potential leak. Of course, this is non-invasive to your roof.
Awesome. Got a lot of everything, it sounds like.
This product is a PCASA that we specifically developed with our customer and one of our resin compounders to make this work and pass the UL certifications that's required.
And again, as you mentioned earlier, it's custom. You guys are doing this stuff custom for your clients. And
100%
I'm sure your clients love
custom.
that.
Yes.
That's excellent. Let's take a look and see what else you got going on.
Awesome. Let's slide over this next press right here, Brian. This product here is our customer's OPW.
This looks really familiar to me.
It is very, it should be if you own a motor vehicle and put gas in it.
Absolutely.
When you're filling your tank up, that nozzle, the automated dispensing goes in this rack right here. So this is what we call the guard. We mold about 800,000 of these a year.
Wow.
You go to the BP station or your Duke stations, you see these guards that say OPW on the side.
Yep.
100% of those come from this facility.
That's amazing. It's still warm.
Still warm, right out of the press.
Okay, Al, you've shown me a couple really cool machines and some really diverse products so far.
Yep.
And as we're walking through the facility, I noticed you've got a lot more machines and a lot more equipment and a lot more products you guys are manufacturing. What are we going to look at next?
Sure. Well, we've showed you some from the solar market, some from the fuel delivery market. We're going to show you something from the appliance market segment.
Great. Let's take a look.
All right. This product right here is used in households everywhere. This is a drain port for a Whirlpool washing machine.
Oh, okay.
So on the back of the washing machine, you've got the gray water hose that dumps into your drain. We mold this, send it to our customer. They spin weld a hose onto it, a corrugated hose.
Okay.
And then it goes to Whirlpool's line, and they assemble this to the back of the washing machine.
Take a look at that.
Sure. So this is a polypropylene product. We mold this in an 8-cavity mold. Okay, so it's not a one-off like you just seen up there.
You're making 8 at a time.
8 at a time. Every
Gotcha.
time that mold opens up, it's dropping 8 parts.
Excellent.
So the beauty of this product here is we're running it automated or semi-automatic.
Right.
So
yeah, I can see the machine just working on its own.
right,
here.
we've got a 8-cavity mold with an end of arm pull that's pulling 8 cavities out. We're dropping it into a separator chute. Each one of these cavities are marked, numbered,
Gotcha.
and we pack them separately.
Oh, excellent. So you know exactly quality control. You know exactly what products are going on which box.
Correct. We try and build that value add into our program launch. How can we look for problems downstream?
Solve them before they happen.
Solve them before they happen.
Smart. I'm sure your customers absolutely love that.
Or make it easier to manage downstream. And all of our engineers, our manufacturing folks, all of those folks have that mindset here, right down to our operators. They'll have an idea after we get started up on a program. They, hey, have you ever thought of this? And we'll look at it. We'll employ that as well.
You guys take input from your employees as well as your customers.
Absolutely, as
Smart.
much as we can.
Very
as
smart.
much as we can.
Let's take a look at the next product and the next machine that you have.
Awesome.
All right, Al. So we've looked at solar, we've looked at automotive, we've looked at appliance. What are we going to look at now?
Well, next we're going to go down here. We're going to look at one of our really specific parts that we mold for the railroad market.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, it's hard to believe. I mean, how many parts would you think are injection molded that goes on the railroad?
Yeah, I'm just really surprised and really the diversity of all the products and stuff that you guys. It's amazing.
Yep. Yeah, it's pretty wide.
Yeah. So what do we got here?
All right. So what we've got right here, Brian, I'm going to pull one of these out of the box here. This is what we call a base. Okay. This part is a 60% glass-filled nylon, which is a very rare material. Not everyone molds this.
You can see the material itself looks like the coloring in it. You can kind of tell that.
That's the glass that's coming out in this.
Gotcha.
This is one part of about a 28-piece assembly.
Oh, wow.
So we ship this part to Chicago, and they assemble this whole unit. And it is a car restraint system. It goes on bi-level rail cars.
Okay.
So when the Ford, GM, Chrysler, when they have the car being assembled coming off the line, it's got to get to your car dealership somehow.
Via rail. They do it on rail.
Yeah, 90% of the vehicles gets transported by rail. Well, those cars need to be supported on that rail and held in place somehow, and that's what this unit does. So when you're driving down the road and you see these car haulers sitting on the road, every one of those has one of these units for every tire that goes on every car that goes in there.
So every car that goes by on a rail car that goes past Newton Falls over the underpasses and stuff, the rail underpass
has one of these units
on it. That's
Absolutely.
really amazing. That's cool to know.
Absolutely.
What else we got? Show me something else
All
here.
right, so let me set this back over here. We're gonna turn right around and look at this one, Brian. We switch sides with you here. This product right here is called a filter box.
Okay.
So we've got the railroad industry. Now we're moving to the automotive industry, which is, again, one of our largest segments.
Right.
This product is called a filter box. We run a top and we run a bottom. We ship it to our customer, and they sonic weld assemble these together. But inside they put a series of components, carbon, filter media, things of that nature. And what this does is filter the emissions, the gasoline fumes getting out into the environment. So
Got it.
you know how critical that is
Absolutely,
nowadays.
we all do.
So, we manufacture this, ship it out, they do the assembly, and it goes into Ford trucks.
Awesome.
So if you own a Ford truck, chances are you've got one of these parts in it.
You guys are all over the place.
We're everywhere.
I love
We're
it.
everywhere.
Okay, Al, we've talked about a lot of different products and a lot of different things that you guys are involved in. What other market segments are you guys involved in right now?
Sure, we've covered several market segments. Let's go look at the energy storage market. That's probably the next one that we should look at.
Don't you have somebody that specializes in that kind of stuff?
We do, you know what? I think he's coming down the hall right here. Let's catch him.
I'd like to meet him.
All right. John Nagy.
Morning, Al.
Morning, buddy. How are you?
Doing well.
John, Brian Kropp, pleasure to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. Welcome.
Thank you.
Yes.
Brian, John is our expert on the energy storage market. He was actually at one of our customers yesterday, so he's got a lot more knowledge of this than I do.
Fantastic.
So I'm going to bow out, turn you over to John.
Al, thanks for your time. We'll
Hey.
talk to you a little bit later.
Thanks, Brian.
Have a good
Thanks,
one.
Al.
Good luck, John.
John, it's a pleasure to meet you.
You too.
You're specializing in this kind of stuff. I want to get a little bit more information. What can you tell me about, more specifically about some of these products that that Al didn't get to cover? What can you tell me?
Sure. It actually there is a lot of development that goes into making these products. From the time our customer comes to us with a part design that they want manufactured to the time where we can actually deliver an approved part to them, sometimes that could be 12 weeks, it can be 16, it could be 30 weeks. You're talking a third of a year before you can develop that product. And if it's a brand new product, sometimes it can go even longer than that. You're talking years worth of development to design the part and make sure that it's completely manufacturable.
Well, that's great. It sounds like you guys really go out of your way to work hand in hand with all of your clients and customers.
Absolutely. We like being engaged at the very beginning of the process. That gives our engineers the best chance to coordinate with our customers' engineers and make sure that everything that both sides need is incorporated into that part design, and that gives us the best chance at a successful program by far. When we get brought in late to the program, that's always a challenge for us.
Right. Well, let's take a look at a few other things and some things that you specialize in.
Sure, absolutely.
Okay, let's take a walk. Okay, John, we moved from the manufacturing area to another area in the facility.
Yes.
Where are we? What do we got going on here?
This is Venture's tool room. So the tool room, their job, we have a journeyman tool and die maker on every shift. The tool and die maker's responsibility is to make sure that these molds are up, running, and functional, producing parts for our customers that meet the requirements, making sure that things are going out on the floor the way they meant to be. Support team.
Excellent.
This is a spin weld drain port that goes on the back of a washing machine for Whirlpool. So what you can kind of see is that this is the steel that forms the part. The injection molding process is, to simplify it, is we take solid plastic pellets, we melt them, and we squirt them into the tool, and they solidify into this solid part.
Makes sense.
And then the mold ejects the part out. To execute that, there's a whole lot of complication and detail to get there.
It looks complicated.
You can see by this tool, this part fits in just like that. And then there's 8 of them in this mold. This mold probably has anywhere from 2,000 to 2,500 different components in it to make 8 of these every 30 seconds or so. So the tool room's got it apart right now. It looks like they're doing a full PM. They'll do a disassemble, clean all the components, check everything, and make sure that it's fully production operational.
So they're doing standard maintenance right now, just checking to make sure everything looks good, everything's in working order and ready to go.
Routine preventative maintenance.
Awesome. Yeah, you mentioned that you guys, just to kind of break it down, you simplified it. You said you guys take hard plastic, you melt it, and kind of squirt it into these molds.
Sure.
Can you show me a little bit more about that process or explain that a little bit? Give me an example, a visual example of that.
Absolutely, I can on this part right here. Let's go over here, we'll take a look. Sure, so this is an example of the pellets we work with. These are thermoplastic pellets.
Gotcha.
Which means this material can be melted, liquefied, and then cooled and it resolidifies. And there's really no limit to how many times the material can go through that process.
This material looks really similar to what you got in your hand there.
This is the plastic material that we turn this part into.
Okay.
So our molding machines that you've seen, there is a screw, picture like a drill bit that turns under heat, and it melts these pellets into the liquid, what we call a shot. And then the machine drives that plastic, a very specific determined amount of plastic, right into the mold through this hole. It's called the sprue.
Okay.
And then the mold is designed to distribute that plastic into the mold into these different cavities. So what you can see here is the different details for this part that's needed to manufacture this part. But essentially, the plastic travels through the sprue into a hot runner system that keeps the material molten, and then into the different cavities. And you can see the part formed right there.
Right there.
So
awesome.
A lot of mechanics, a lot of science, frankly, to make this happen, make this transition happen. A lot of details and a lot of homework and a lot of cost to manufacture these molds to be able to produce this part.
It looks very detailed.
Yes, indeed. This is our material central load area, we call it. Our bigger machines that are out on the press, they consume a lot of material as we mold the parts. So rather than have small barrels that you see with some of the smaller machines, we unload the material into these plastic hoppers, and you can see the tubes come over into our drying systems. We manufacture with many different engineering grades of material. They have to be dried to be processed properly without breaking down the material. So they come into this dryer, and then from here they feed from the dryer over the wall to the larger presses that are molding the parts.
So you have like a vacuum blower system essentially.
Absolutely, it's all
These are
vacuum
dryers,
driven.
basically big dryers essentially.
Yep, this is a big dehumidifier. Think about this system right here. This controls all of these hoppers, 6 of these hoppers.
Gotcha.
And then there's a computer controlled system over there that has all the software that tells the machines, the vacuum lines where to dispense the material.
I see different settings on some of the different machines. I can even see the material, the raw materials inside the windows. You can see it right through this sight glass right here.
All right, so Brian, you mentioned wanting to see some of our quality control systems.
Absolutely.
This is Kathy. Kathy's our first shift quality inspector. Her job is to take this cart, and you can see she's checking some features on this part. This is an automotive part that goes into a transmission, actually.
Okay.
Very tight tolerance, engineering grade material. So part of our engineering team, what we do, we work with our customer, we have a drawing, and we verify which features on this part are most important to them. Kathy, she will walk around every press in the building and verify those dimensions are in tolerance when we start the job up, and then as we're running to make sure that everything is running, parts are good, and no bad parts are going out to our customer.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Okay, so we're back in the quality lab, and we're here. We're going to check out this CMM machine.
Yep.
Can you tell me a little bit more about it and what it does and what it's doing right now?
Sure. So CMM stands for Coordinate Measuring Machine. So this piece of equipment, it's fully automated. What happens is we mold parts, and computer controlled, the probe right now is going in, measuring points on that part and making sure that that part is manufactured within the tolerances defined by our customer. If you go over by the computer screen, you can actually see real time the probe on the screen that's moving and scanning across that part. So that's all real time. You can see the fixtures up there on the screen. Our quality engineer will design the fixtures to locate that part. The CMM machine then finds the part in space and then checks every point that we tell it to of that molded part against that 3D model to make sure it's manufactured within customer specification. This is a D4 filter assembly. So we manufacture both halves of the box. Our customer is a tier 1 supplier, and they install filter components into this box and then weld it together. and then this ships to Ford. It goes into part of the emission control systems in your Ford F-150s, I believe, and multiple applications.
Okay, I knew it looked familiar.
Yep, very high volume job. I think it's close to 800,000 of these that we make every year.
Wow, that's excellent. Thanks so much for catching back up with me on the tour here. I really appreciate it.
Hey, sure thing, Brian.
Where are we at right now?
You know, we're in our new 17,000 square foot expansion here. We started brick and mortar on this expansion in 2018. We finished it late last year and started running production roughly August of 2018.
So you guys are expanding.
Yeah.
Why the necessity for expansion?
You know, Venture Plastics, we've had molding equipment ranging from 55 ton up to 720, like we had talked about earlier. And now we range up to 1,440 ton. So with that larger expansion in press size, we didn't have room for it, so we had to add this on.
That's great.
We got awarded a new piece of business that's in the automotive market segment, interior trim piece that goes into the trunk. And it required this large tonnage press.
Well, this looks excellent. It's great to see businesses here locally that are growing and expanding, and seeing Venture Plastics grow is excellent.
Yeah, we're not afraid of growth, that's for sure.
Well, that's great to see.
We'll show you the new 1440 ton here in a minute, but you know, phase one was to get the expansion in and the press in place and production rolling, and we're there. Phase two is going to be, as you can see, there's a lot of empty space up front. This is all office areas.
Absolutely.
And we're going to have our engineering and sales staff upstairs. And then downstairs here, we're going to have our administration, customer service, and accounting. This is the other part of our expansion, the 17,000 square foot. We just seen the front offices. Now this is the production environment that we have over here.
I see the big giant windows you mentioned there. The
Yeah,
engineers
it's going to be
look
great
over.
to be able to look out when we get up there. But
Awesome.
we got a group of people right here. We do, you know, quarantine area inspection, safe launch type activities here when we bring a new program in. We've got to inspect 100% or a certain frequency thereof for, you know, a number of days, 30 days, 60 days, 90 days. It varies. So we have a team over here that goes through and inspects, reworks, things of that nature.
Awesome. Now,
This 950 ton is our latest machine, our newest machine. We replaced a 720 ton press with a 950 ton press.
okay.
Why is that important? It's upsize, you know, so we're giving ourselves additional potential business that we can bring in, because we had a gap from 720 to 1440.
Right.
So now we've filled that void with a 950 now. So we'll still have two 720s on our floor, and now a 950. So it bridges that gap in between the largest and the, you know, used to be largest. With that, we have invested in a 6-axis robot. So the technology advancement that we have here is well above what we've been doing. This 6-axis robot's going to do far more than what we've been doing in the past. It's able to pick and place just way more finite elements of the molding operation.
Very
For
precise.
instance, the main reason we procured this 6-axis is right around this very large battery container that we do. And if you see closely, we have 2 lead inserts. These are the terminals for your negative and positive.
Oh, okay.
Okay. The old way of molding it is we had an operator hand loading these into a mold. The press closing up, injecting the product, they pull it out of the press. Now, with this 6-axis robot, it is going to be picking these lead terminals up, placing it into the mold the part, and then it's going to be pulling it out and putting it on a conveyor finished. So we'll have an operator then putting it on our dielectric tester to verify 100% quality product, and then it'll get packaged. So
great.
a big advancement for us. We're not totally eliminating the operator, but what we're doing is making the process so much more repeatable and accurate.
And high quality as well.
High quality, which is, you can imagine if this is wrong and you've got you know, a lot of energy storage here,
Yep.
it's not going to work very well.
Be a problem. Yeah, absolutely.
You're going to be upset.
Well, this is fascinating. This equipment is fascinating. It's really been an interesting walk through it and all the different things you guys are making and putting together here. it's been amazing, I have to say. I'm really impressed.
We have one more machine. We'll just walk next door here
Let's
to the
take a
next
look
one.
at it.
This is our largest, the 1440 ton.
Great.
And I'll explain to you. Let me set this back down here. All right, Brian, so we're here at our 1440 ton molding machine. This is our largest press and our largest mold that we have here in-house.
This, I have to say, walking up on this, it's very impressive. What exactly do you guys make in this press? Why does it need to be so large? Sure.
So we were contracted this. It's an automotive product. We manufacture it out of a polypropylene, and it is an interior trim part that goes into your trunk. We mold this. We do quite a bit of value-add assembly with it. We add felt. We add metal clips for engagement into the sheet metal in the car. And then we put in a rubber EPDM gasket that helps seal the dust from getting down into the latch area.
Excellent.
This is a finished part after our operators have put on all the components. It's went through the assembly machine. So I'll explain to you what we're seeing here. We're seeing some metal installation clips. These are the clips that snap into the sheet metal in the trunk.
Okay.
That fastens it into the trunk.
Right.
Felt for rattle proof, so that when it's nested inside there going down the road, it doesn't rattle on you. And then we have this EPDM seal that keeps the dust from getting down inside the latch area.
So these things are all added on after the part is actually pressed inside the press.
Correct.
Excellent.
And there's a lot of quality control in this.
That's great. Great
And
to see.
it's a engineer that works with a vendor outside to make sure all this happens and it does what we need it to do.
That's fantastic. But it's an amazing product and amazing process altogether. It really is. Well, Al, I've really enjoyed myself today. I've seen a lot. I'm really impressed by what you guys have going on here, right here in Newton Falls. It's really impressive. Tell me a little bit more about what you guys are going to be doing in the future and what you guys are doing with your employees and that kind of stuff.
Sure, you know, we have employee recruitment that we try and do through our HR department. You know, we are always continuously looking for people. We have events that we're doing. You know, I don't know if I mentioned earlier, if John mentioned it. You know, this October, we're celebrating our 50th year anniversary.
Oh, impressive.
So our company's been in business for 50 years this October.
That's great.
And so with that, we have had a number of celebration events. John Nagy, the engineering manager, he ran a charity event through the company where all of our employees brought things in to donate to a local establishment. Church Mouse was the name of it. We do a donation to Wings of Vincent as a charity. So, you know, we do everything we can to try and give back also, and that helps give our employees a sense of worth as well in the community.
Well, speaking of the employees, if let's say somebody was interested in not even just being an employee, but learning anything about Venture Plastics, where could they go? What could they see to learn more?
Sure. You know, we've got a website, www.ventureplastics.com. We have the front office. It's open all the time. You know, during the day they can come in, ask for Elaine Askey. She's our HR person.
Excellent.
She can talk to our receptionist. Elaine always has ads out there in the papers and such as well. We're in the phone book. You know, we're on the internet. So, you know, we're easily reachable for sure.
Well, excellent. Again, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate everything that you showed us today.
Absolutely.
And we look forward to seeing more from Venture Plastics in the future.
Sure thing, Brian.
Really
It was
appreciate
great
it.
having you guys in. I greatly appreciate you coming
Thank
in
you
and
so
spending
much.
some time with us.
Well, that's it for this episode of Newton Falls Means Business. I want to give a big thank you to Al Schultes and John Nagy of Venture Plastics Incorporated for letting us walk through the plant and seeing everything that they're doing here. There's a lot of great things going on here at Venture Plastics. I'm your host, Brian Kropp, and make sure you check out the next episode of Newton Falls Means Business. See you later.